Not all heroes wear capes. It's one of the key mottos of this crisis, isn't it? Leo Varadkar used it in his speech to the nation the other night. And of course he was talking about the healthcare workers who are on the front line of this pandemic, talking about the doctors and the nurses and the paramedics and the ambulance drivers and all of those who are really putting their lives in danger to help us. And of course they are heroes and they need our support. But I want to tell you about another hero today. And he's also a hero who doesn't wear a cape. In fact, he probably wore robes and sandals. I'm talking, of course, about Jesus. And Jesus certainly was a hero. And I want to share with you just one verse from the Bible that explains how he is. Jesus, of course, is a hero in the sense that he came to rescue his people. And that is what heroes do, isn't it? Whether it's the firefighter running into the burning building or the superhero going into the villain's lair to rescue his friends from their clutches. That's what heroes do. They put themselves in danger to rescue their people. And that's what Jesus did too. Listen to this verse. It comes from the book of Hebrews, written a few decades after Jesus' death and reflecting on all that Jesus accomplished. Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 14. It starts like this: "Since the children have flesh and blood, he too shared in their humanity." It's saying that Jesus came to the place where the danger was, the place where humans were in difficulty and in trouble. And Jesus, the eternal Son of God, came down from heaven and became one of us, became human in order to rescue us. But of course, every hero has a villain, don't they? Batman has his Joker, and Superman has his Lex Luthor, and the Avengers have all kinds of nasty supervillains. And at the end of every film, they get defeated, don't they? And the hero wins. And in the same way, Jesus defeats a villain. It says that by his death he might break the power of him who holds the power of death, that is, the devil. Now, sometimes we think of the devil in a kind of jokey way with the red jumpsuit and the pitchfork and the smell of sulfur and all of that kind of thing. But the devil is actually somebody very serious. The Bible says that he's supernatural and powerful and more evil than we can imagine. And yet this verse says that Jesus defeated him. When did he do it? He did it at the first Easter. It says by the power of his death. How did he do that? How did he defeat the power of the devil? What power does the devil have? Well, only as much power as God gives him. But here he's talking about the devil having the power of death. And it means the power that the devil has to scare us with death by telling us that we're going to be in trouble when we face God after our deaths. And he's right, because if we stand before God with an awareness of all the things that we've done wrong, then we would be in big trouble. And this is how Jesus defeated the devil. His death made it possible for us to be forgiven as he took the punishment we deserve. It made it possible for us to face death without fear. And when the devil says to us that we need to be afraid, we say, no, I know where I'm going. And I know that Jesus is waiting for me. Jesus defeated the biggest enemy of all, the biggest villain. The devil and death and sin have been beaten by him. And what does that do for us? Well, it sets us free. Look at the last bit of the verse. Jesus did all this to free those who all their lives were held in slavery by their fear of death. This is what Jesus came to do. I guess many of us are struggling with a fear of death at the moment as we see the statistics and see the numbers rise day by day, and we wonder how close it's getting to our door or to the door of our loved ones. But here we read that it is no longer necessary to be slaves to that fear, that we can go to Jesus, to ask him for forgiveness and to trust that the events of that first Christmas when he came to rescue us, the events of that Easter when he beat our biggest villain, our biggest enemy, the devil, and of course rose from the dead to defeat death itself and to make sure that none of us need to suffer that fear. Why not check out more about it? Go on to BibleGateway.com and type in Hebrews 2 to read about what this greatest hero did for us, all without needing any cape.